Today on r/, am I the butthole?
Am I the butthole for calling my husband an effing embarrassment? I've been seeing my fiance for 4 years now, and I came into the relationship with 2 boys. My boys are now 12 and 9. Once a year, me and my boys go to my family's vacation home with the entire family, and up until this year, my fiance did not attend. But now that we're engaged and merging families, my family asked that he come too. They all get along great with him anyways. I explained to him prior to us coming to our family retreat that during our week stay with the family, my kids do not have a bedtime. We do a lot of night activities, such as night swimming in the pool, karaoke, fires, nightly strolls through the neighborhood, etc., etc. So during this week, my kids absolutely do not have a bedtime, and this is how it's always been. I made it clear that bedtime was not to be enforced like it was at home, because this is a vacation and time with my family, and I'm not making my kids miss out on the nightly activities. I also explained that due to this, some nights they are up until easily 11 or midnight. It's once a year, it's no big deal. So he was fully aware of this, and please note that this is the only time that I've seen this side of him. We get here, and the first night you can tell that he's already uncomfortable with the boys staying up past their bedtime. He was stressing out because the boys were still in the pool at 10 p.m., and he felt that they should be in bed already. I reminded him at least twice that we are not enforcing the bedtime here, and he let it go on the first night. The second night, 9 p.m. rolls around, and the boys were still up, and my fiance was dropping comments like, "You're lucky you're still even awake right now. You should be in bed," saying it right in front of my mom, who looked mortified that he had such an attitude. I told him to cut it out in private. He tells me that he thinks it's messed up and that it's going to be terrible trying to get them back on their schedule, which has never been an issue in the past. I stood firm and told him to knock it off and let it go. But then last night, my fiance starts angry sighing every single time he looks at my kids still awake, and I finally pulled him aside and told him that he was an effing embarrassment because he keeps saying these comments in front of my family, which leads to these awkward silences and judgmental glances my way. I warned him prior to coming here that if he had an issue that he can't control for a week, then he needs to leave because he's ruining our trip with his passive-aggressive BS surrounding a bedtime. He told me that I'm a butthole for making him feel like garbage over wanting to keep the kids on a schedule because it's best for them. Am I the butthole here? OP, I don't think you're the butthole here at all. I mean, what's the big deal about going to bed on time? You're on vacation anyway. Honestly, I think that the fact that he's getting so angry about the kids not going to bed on time might be an indicator of a red flag. Maybe he's a little bit too controlling. Anyways, I think Tater Sprout down in the comments says it best. Not the butthole. I know you said this behavior is not as usual, but I would say that this is a prediction of the future with him. He has an opinion that differs from yours. He doesn't have to agree with you, but he does have to respect your decisions. He doesn't respect you, and he can't control himself. He made a fool of himself and openly showed his disdain toward your entire family. Please rethink your relationship. Things may have been smooth in the past because of a situation where you disagree has likely never been an issue. I have to agree. If he's gonna get this upset over a bedtime, what other things is he going to be upset about, and what other ways is he going to try to control the situation? I know you two are engaged, but maybe you should see this as a red flag and maybe look for an exit strategy. Anyways, I think your fiance gets a 2.5, maybe even 3 out of 5 butthole score for trying to be controlling and ruining the vacation for your 2 boys.
Am I the butthole for refusing to attend my brother's wedding because of the dress code? My brother is getting married in a few months, and his future wife asked me to be a part of the bridal party. I was thrilled and excited to be included, but then she informed me that there was a dress code for the bridal party that was gender specific, with women expected to wear dresses and men expected to wear suits. As someone who identifies as non-binary and as more masculine presenting, I'm uncomfortable with conforming to a gender binary that doesn't accurately represent me. I brought this up with my brother and his fiance, but they insisted that they wanted all their guests to adhere to the dress code, regardless of how it made them feel. I ultimately decided that I didn't want to attend their wedding, as I didn't feel comfortable being pressured into conforming to a gender binary that doesn't accurately represent me. My brother and his fiance are now upset with me, accusing me of being difficult and not willing to compromise. After fighting with them, I found out that they went behind my back and involved my mom. She called me yesterday and told me I can put aside my identity for one day to make the day special for my little brother. I feel bad now and didn't realize something as small as clothes I feel comfortable wearing would cause a rift within my family. So, am I being unreasonable for refusing to go to the wedding? OP, I definitely don't think you're being unreasonable here. Like, if they're forcing you to wear clothes you don't want to wear, then you don't have to go. However, it is their wedding and they can choose what people wear to go to their wedding. But personally, I feel like they're kind of just singling you out a little bit with the whole gender-specific clothing, and then they turn it around and act like you're the one being difficult. I just feel like they have a problem with the way you dress, OP. However, I think the user Poe Adam sums up what I'm trying to say best in the comment section. Put your identity aside for one day? No? Not the butthole. It's fine for them to dictate the formality of the wedding, it's not fine for them to dictate your preferred gender expression. A suit that is on the same level of formality as other suits that other people are wearing should be considered just fine. Yeah, like I really don't get this. Like I get if you don't want somebody upstaging you or if you don't want somebody looking trashy, but like It's just fancy dress clothes, people. Get over it. For that reason, I'll give them a 1.5 out of 5 buttholes just because I feel like they have a problem with the way you dress and the way you identify. That, or maybe your sister just doesn't want to get upstaged by you because maybe she thinks you wearing a suit's gonna draw attention away from her. Either way, her freaking out over fancy dress clothes is a bit ridiculous.
Am I the butthole for not paying my neighbor's daughter's medical bills after she got hurt on my property? I own a townhouse with a surprisingly large backyard. Although there is no fence that separates my yard from the neighbors, there is a stone pathway right down the center that separates our outdoor spaces, so it is very clear where my yard ends and where theirs begins. They have 2 small children, a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old, and I have a medium-sized dog. My dog knows and is trained to stay only within my yard, though on many occasions now, their children have come into my yard to play. They aren't doing anything obnoxious per se, but I don't personally feel comfortable with them coming into my yard as it feels like overstepping a boundary. This is my personal space, and although we are neighbors, I don't feel it's appropriate for their children to regularly come onto my property and play as if it's their own. I brought this up with the neighbors at least 3 times, and they don't take me seriously at all. They cannot comprehend why I don't want their children coming into my yard freely. They say if it bothers me so much, then I should have a fence built. Maybe I am stubborn, but it just feels like me taking accountability for their lack of parenting, so I won't do it. Not to mention having a fence built can get really pricey, and I want to prioritize furnishing my home. It's under construction, and I've only been here for 6 months, and working on a few other projects. I've spoken to the kids when they come into my yard and have nicely explained that my yard is not their play space. This usually keeps them away for a few days until they're right back at it again. Here's where I might be the butthole. I had a nasty cold for a few days last week, and because of that, I wasn't on top of picking up after my dog. During this time, I had an idea. Maybe if I stopped picking up after her for a while, it would deter the neighbor kids from coming into my yard. I assumed that they probably wouldn't want to play around in dog poop, so even after I was no longer sick, I held off on cleaning up. Earlier this week, the kids came into my yard as usual. To keep a long story short, the girl ended up getting hurt. She fell and fractured her arm as they were playing near wooden pallets that have been sitting outside. When I went to look at the area after it happened, I noticed that she must have stepped in dog poop, slipped, and fell. I feel really terrible that she hurt herself, but I also don't really think I'm responsible. My neighbors are furious at me and are trying to claim that I should pitch in on some of the medical bills, but I absolutely refused. I'm not sure if they know that she slipped and fell because of dog poop that wasn't picked up, but either way, I will not agree to help with the bills. I know it was super petty of me to do this, but I asked nicely multiple times and they still didn't respect my boundaries. I also didn't think that anyone would get hurt. I just thought that they would think it was super gross and not want to come over anymore. Am I the butthole? Honestly, OP, I don't know if you are the butthole here or not. I mean, on one hand, they are entering your yard without permission, but on the other hand, you did kind of maliciously put poop in your yard so that they wouldn't. And in turn, a little girl got hurt because of it. I think in some states, you might be legally liable for any injuries that occur on your property if you don't have a fence up. However, I don't know if that's the case in this situation, so you might not be legally liable for that. It is your property and you can do whatever you want with it, but I am going to give you a 1.5 out of 5 buttholes because, in my opinion, you are partially responsible for that child's injury.
Am I being unreasonable for kicking my friend out after she said I was treating my dog like a servant? I recently moved into a new house and I have a golden retriever named Nala and she is the sweetest dog. So, I'm deaf. That bit is important. When I moved in, I had a bit of trouble having flashing light doorbells put in, and there was a while where I had to go without it. My friends and family know to give me a call when they drop by instead of ringing the doorbell, but unfortunately, I've missed many packages this way. For some reason, my dog Nala caught on to this. At one point, she began letting me know when someone was at the door, and she'd do this in multiple ways. If I was in the living room where I could see the front door, she'd go and paw at the front door. Before I was upstairs, she'd come and gently headbutt me to let me know that somebody was there. However, it took me a while to catch on what she was trying to do though. And now, even though I have a light up doorbell installed, she still does this. I didn't teach her how to do any of this, she just decided to help me out. It's super cute. So here's where the problem starts. I brought over a friend for the first time recently, and this is the first time she's met Nala as well. The first thing that she commented on is how I named her Nala, because apparently everyone and their grandma names their golden retriever Nala. Lion King was my favorite movie growing up, sue me. Then I showed her the picture of Nala pawing at the door because it got a bit awkward after the comment. It's usually a great icebreaker. She laughed and thought it was super cute. I showed her another one and she asked me why Nala was doing that, and then I explained it to her. She doesn't say anything for a minute, and then she goes, quote, "So basically, the dog's your servant? Is she just there to get your door?" I was thoroughly done with her judgmental butt at this point, and I asked her to leave. She left, but she did message me afterwards saying I was super rude for kicking her out, and she traveled all this way to see me. And how else was she supposed to think with my dog with videos like that? Am I being the butthole for kicking her out when she was being so rude about my dog? No, P, you're being super reasonable about this. I don't know why your friend's being so judgmental. Like, have you never heard of a service dog? Your friend's deaf and your dog actually helps you. Like, I know your dog's not your actual service dog, but your dog is so sweet and so kind that it just became your service dog for no reason. OP, I give you 0 out of 5 buttholes for standing up for yourself and also standing up for your super sweet and super cute golden retriever. Then I'll give your friend a score of 1 out of 5 buttholes for just being really judgmental. If you've gotten this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. If you really enjoy our content, please like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.